So, I watched Scary Movie 6 and Backrooms in the same day, and I gotta say, these movies are one of these movies is incredibly good, and the other one is fine. So we're gonna start off with Scary Movie. That's the order we saw it in. We saw Scary Movie first, and then we went and saw Backrooms. A double feature kind of thing. Kind of a weird two movies to see together. But we don't get to go to the movie theaters very often, so I figured, hey, let me see. My wife and I will see both of them. And so Ariel and I, we're huge fans of the first Scary Movie. Like, absolutely love that movie specifically. I'm not as big on the second one as the first one, but the first one, man, I love that movie. It's so funny to me. Every time we throw it on probably 3 or 4 times a year, and it's just a fucking classic. It's so good. This one, however, I will do it. This one's I'm not gonna do a spoiler free for Scary Movie 6. This movie is subjective as fuck. Comedy is very subjective. There you can find things that are funny, you can find things that aren't funny. It just depends on what your palate is and what you like. I will say this movie wasn't like terrible. I think on a rewatch it'd probably be funnier. But what this movie feels like is a bunch of skits, horror comedy skits kind of thrown together, where the first Scary Movie felt like it was making fun of movies that actually had plot structure, so therefore Scary Movie 1 had plot structure. This one, it's just kind of all over the place. Characters are just teleporting to different places than just to make jokes, but I'm not hating. That's fine with me. I didn't expect this movie to make me go home and think about my life or think about the deeper meanings or anything. I thought a lot of the references and stuff that they made were really good, but some of the stuff, it just fell a little flat for me. I'm not even really going to try to talk specifics because this movie doesn't really stick out in my brain. It's not a bad movie, a bad funny movie. There were some parts that gave me a good laugh, and I like the like I'm a big fan of Sinners, so I like the Sinners parody stuff. I like the younger generation being like Remick and stuff, and I like the Ray going to the church like Sammy in the beginning of Sinners. All that stuff was funny to me, but like some of it was like a little bit of the slapstick stuff, which I really like in the first one. But like, okay, I said I wasn't going to go into specifics, but there's just one that I want to bring up. Like when Wednesday or whatever is in the hospital and the hospital nurse is like fucking whatever, and then they hit the button and Wednesday goes flying into the ceiling on like the hospital bed. Like, I didn't love it, but like I'm not saying that it wasn't funny. It didn't really make me laugh. Um and I think the nurse stuff was pretty funny. The like, bitch, I'm on break. Like that shit's so funny to me. I you know what I mean? But I don't know. This movie is just I feel like it's very subjective and kind of hard to talk about because you either like it or you don't. And you either found it funny or you didn't. You laughed your ass off at most of it or some of it, or you didn't laugh at any of it. And it's just how you kind of feel about the movie. So yeah, it's kind of sucks because I was really expecting this one to be like super funny. Also, the characters like Shorty and Ray. Brenda is probably the best part of this movie. If I were to give a um best character in the movie kind of thing, which we will sure give it to Brenda. It's Brenda. Brenda Meeks does great. I do like the Mindy character that was supposed to be like Mindy from Scream or whatever. I like her character. Chad was whatever. I don't know. This movie is just weird because it's not supposed to be the most incredible movie you've ever seen, but it was funny. It just wasn't as funny as the first. And maybe I shouldn't compare them like that. That's kind of not fair. But I am. So it's like it's funnier than 3, 4, and 5, which I don't even think I've seen 5. I've seen 3 and 4, and 3 and 4 have their like those clips that you see, like the one of Anthony Anderson and Kevin Hart talking about like you can't go to bed dead. Like that's funny, but it's like it's not the whole movie. It's just like certain parts. I feel like Scary Movie 6 kind of falls with the same thing. I like a lot of the references, seeing the white chick's character, the substance reference, the sinners reference, the terrified. Like I liked all the references and stuff that they're making fun of, but some of it fell a little flat, but it's okay. It was fine. So that's I know that this is super short and it's just hard because comedy's so subjective. It's just so hard to be like, you should go see this movie. It was hilarious. I didn't laugh a whole lot, but I'm not saying that other people weren't or wouldn't. There were people in my theater that were laughing at everything, and Ariel and I, we weren't. But that's not, some of the jokes I feel like were for older generation of people. looking in on scare, like looking at the jokes. But some of, people my age, like I talked to my good friend Xander, and he was saying that, there were some jokes in there that didn't make him laugh that the rest of his crowd was laughing at, and I had the same experience. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. This movie's super subjective. If you like the other scary movies, I don't think this one is fucking terrible. It's definitely funny. It's definitely the Wayans Bros. It's very, that. But some of it just felt like an older generation of people looking at our generation and making jokes kind of from the outside. Where in the original Scary Movie 1, the jokes that they were making, they were in that generation. If does that make sense? Like in Scary Movie 1, the Wayans Bros are in their 20s, so when they're making jokes about the humor from that time, they're more in it, where now it feels like 40-year-olds making jokes about 20-year-old humor, and it's like, well, you're not really in it. But to be fair, some of the jokes are pretty good, like the ice joke or whatever. That's fine. There was like, trans jokes, or it's okay. This movie's just okay. But yeah, I'm gonna give this a movie like a 7 out of 10 on my enjoyment. Like, it wasn't terrible, and like I said, with it feeling like skits, that's not exactly a problem. Like, I don't feel like that's like oh, that's so bad. I don't care. It's funny to see like the characters go from like being dressed up like normal people to then being dressed in the sinners outfits and stuff. And yeah, and then the John Wick bit at the end, I thought that was pretty funny. I enjoy that. And then the Ghostface killer guy, the killer of the movie, I thought the reveal was better than Scream 7, even though it's a comedy movie or making fun of it. I thought it was better. And I thought a lot of the Ghostface bits that they have him doing, like, I thought that shit was pretty funny. But, it was okay. It was an okay, funny movie, and I got my laughs out of it, my chuckles. Now, Backrooms. Dude, this movie is so fucking good. Okay, Backrooms is an internet creepypasta that started on the internet however long ago. I thought it was much older than it actually was, but it started more recent than I had remembered. I feel like the Backrooms has been a thing for a long time, but maybe I'm definitely wrong about that. It's not incredibly old. This movie is so good. So, okay, spoiler free for the Backrooms. This movie is creepy, it's eerie, it gives you a sense of dread. I think you should go see this movie because not only is it a good movie, but we need to support things like this. This is the kind of movie that we have to support. Backrooms and Obsession are two movies that need to get supported because Ariel and we constantly talk about how remakes and reboots of a franchise that's 10 movies long, at a certain point, you're not even trying to make a good movie, you're just trying to make money. And I mean, of course, everybody who's making a movie is trying to make money to some extent. It's funny how Obsession and Backrooms are two completely opposite movies, but they're so similar. And what I mean by this is young director making a movie on like a fucking 10th of the budget that other like Marvel movies are like, oh, it cost us $1 billion to make this movie. Obsession, I read, was like $750,000, which, if you're a person living and paying bills, that's not a cheap amount of money. But in the movie world, like I said, where Disney is dishing out billions of dollars to make a singular one movie, $750,000 is very cheap. And then I think Backrooms had $1 million, or was in that $5 million. I read this a couple days ago, so I'm sorry if that's incorrect, but it's very cheap. Those two movies are, so it's cheap budget, young directors in their 20s making things from their brains that aren't a reboot, a franchise. We need to support things like this because we want cool new things. So this movie, man, I didn't exactly know what to expect. I tried to avoid as much trailers. I've always said that in a lot of my reviews. I try to avoid trailers because I feel like they give away the movie. And I am so glad that I didn't. And I'm so greatly surprised by what this movie was, that I loved it, man. So basically, Clark is the main character. He is a guy that's kind of going through some rough shit in life. His wife kicked him out of the house, which he pays for, which it's a big thing. And basically, the two main characters of this movie are Clark, the furniture store owner where the back rooms are connected to, and then his therapist, who is named Mary, I believe. And basically, you get these two characters, and we kind of, we get a glimpse into Clark's life. He's currently living at his furniture store. So basically, I'm gonna kind of just jump to the stuff that I really want to talk about. So Clark, he shuts off all the power in his building because for some reason his lights are flickering and he doesn't understand why. He shuts off all the lights in the breaker and nothing turns off. And there's this bottom switch that's just randomly there, right? He hits it and all the lights go off. And then while he's walking back upstairs, he sees this like glow in the wall, and it's the door to the back rooms, and he steps through. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this scene or sequence of events of him finding the backrooms door and walking through it might be my favorite sequence of events in in any movie that I've seen in a long time. The thing about the backrooms is it's supposed to be eerie, creepy places that don't really have a rhyme or a reason or don't exactly make sense, but it's the lighting, it's the carpeted smell, walls that don't really make sense, that don't lead to anything. So he basically walks in, he sees this giant pile of furniture that's in there, and it's like stools that are merged together, couches that are like merged in the floor. The visuals are so good. It's so creepy because you don't know initially if there is something down there. Now, he basically is exploring this place and he turns a corner, and there's like multiple ways that he can go, but when he turns the corner, there's a stop sign, and the stop sign is backwards. Okay, I don't think that a lot of people are like, I might be taking this out of proportion, but this stop sign is beautiful to me because later on while he's exploring, we find these like crazy rooms that have cameras. There's a caveman cutout, which I thought was Jesus for a minute. I don't know why I thought it was Jesus. I didn't notice that it was a caveman until I watched or saw a picture of what it actually looked like. But this stop sign, basically he crawls through this just like what 3x3 hole in the wall, and he gets to this throne room. It's a perfect throne, and the visuals on this movie are so good. I have to, like, you don't understand if you haven't seen this. If you've seen the movie, you understand what I'm talking about. There's a pit in the ground that's full of chairs. Then there's just a single throne. Also, time works really weird in the back rooms where we see some stuff from the future, as in like eventually Clark will come back with a couple of people that work at his store, and you see their clothes or like their shoes in the back rooms, but it's the first time he gets there. Oh, it's so good. It's so cool. It's so interesting. Time stuff and interesting stuff. And also, real quick, just for like not even really the ending of this movie, but the movie has enough in it to where it feels satisfying when you finish the movie, but there's so many theories roaming around on the internet, and it's so cool to see everybody's different takes. And like, I really hope that the director, Kane Pixels, I'm sorry, I don't know his last name, but that was the YouTube channel, was Kane Pixels, where he started the Backrooms videos and stuff. But I really hope that he doesn't come out and explain anything, because sometimes I complain about movies where I'm like, what and why is this happening, and the movie doesn't explain it, and sometimes it doesn't need to get explained, but sometimes for my own rationalization I'm like, why? But with Backrooms, I don't want any explanation. Let people rewatch this movie hundreds and hundreds of times to figure out what's going on. But it's so satisfying. But like I was saying, the ending is satisfying, but it's not explained. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. But anyway, Clark is in the back rooms and he's in this throne room. We're seeing things that didn't actually happen yet, even though that we don't know about that yet, because obviously later on. But and there's the caveman cutout gets destroyed by something, and we're like, what the hell? And he ends up running through this little door in the wall, because this whole thing is so cool and doesn't make any sense, but that's why it's so beautiful and so interesting. And he comes out and it's the back of the stop sign, so you immediately recognize it because it was the stop sign that they saw earlier. The stop sign is red. It pops because everything else is a dim yellow and it doesn't look the same. So when you see the back of it, you get a sense of, okay, I know where we are. Not that you feel safe, but I know where we're at. It's so good. And then he basically goes back to therapy, tries to tell the therapist about it. It doesn't work. She doesn't believe him, and she's like, I'm not saying you're lying, I just don't believe you. And so he's like, all right, fine, I'm gonna get proof. And also they mentioned that he's an architect, which is so good because it would make sense why when he's mapping it out, like he's like, this shit doesn't make sense. If you're an architect, you understand the structure of buildings and how, why would there be walls here? There's like half walls, there's like sofas merged into the floor. It's so good. But basically the Backrooms is a living entity that is trying to recreate things from the above world and trying to make it in it, recreate it. And they constantly say this phrase of, imagine you had tried to explain a dog to somebody who has never seen one and then ask them to draw it. That is so fucking, that perfectly explains what the Backrooms is doing. It's like when AI makes a video and something's not quite right, where it looks real and it looks right at an initial glance, but it's getting certain things wrong if you zoom in. I, dude, I love this movie. It was so interesting, and again, him exploring the Backrooms. It's like, I'm not kidding. Maybe I'm blowing the amount of time it was. This movie's 2 hours, and I'm not even kidding. I think like 15 minutes. He's exploring the Backrooms, and he's saying like, hello. And that's it. That's the only dialogue. We don't get to see the monster. The monster does show up and destroy the cardboard like cutout, but we don't see that until like 10. He's already explored a lot of it, and it's so good, dude. Clark goes and gets his employees and brings them in there with a camera to basically record everything. And Clark, he sends his employee down there with the camera, and dude, this got such a good jump scare. Literally a dude it's not even a jump scare. That's the thing. A dude next to me, like on my direct right, he was weird because he was like on his phone, not really paying attention to the movie. But at this part, uh, it must have like got his attention because he was like locked in, and the guy has the camera and he's like looking around, and there's a bunch of like dirty laundry and everything, and there's a cutout of a caveman down there, but it's like in the pile of clothes, so only its neck is showing. And I thought it was a fucking person. So I was like I jumped and was like, oh shit. And the dude next to me goes, oh fuck no. Loud as shit in the whole theater. Like, I don't even know if there was kids in there, but he was like, oh fuck no. And did it make me laugh because I was like, yeah, everybody seemed to notice it at the same time. But basically something makes a noise and he tries to run. It's basically this long slanted like corridor that he has to slide down, so he has this rope attached to him. So he goes to climb up the rope and they're pulling him up, and something grabs him and is pulling him, and then they all fall down into the Backrooms, and the Clark is running with the camera, and then it's just more perfect set design. Like, it's just so beautiful. There's a bunch of rooms, there's just couches, there's chairs. It doesn't make sense. There's half walls that doesn't lead anywhere. There's like gaps in the walls, and like you look, like the camera guy like looks down the hallway, and it's just more rooms. It's so good looking. Like, the visuals are so well done. It's so good. The visuals are just so well done, and it's so enjoyable, and it gives you just this sense of like, make the hair on the back of your neck stand up, because even when there's no creature, you don't know what's gonna show up because this shit doesn't make sense. It's so good. But when they get Clark is running away from the creature after his two employees just got basically eaten, and he runs into this Christmas room, and this is red dim because the Christmas ornaments are red, and there's music playing, and we're in there, and like it's basically pitch black except for the Christmas tree, and he gets to the Christmas tree and he looks like to the left, and there's like oh god, it's giving me chills. Dude, this movie is so much fun. There's like a mannequin standing there, and we're like, oh god, but we haven't seen anything else move except the thing that grabbed those two, the two employees. So we're like, okay, the thing that's chasing us should be behind us. So this is just a mannequin. And then it starts like walking like like that. Sorry, Lilith, I didn't mean to hit you. I didn't know you were laying there. But like it like starts like walking like this, like real like I don't know, like Robloxy or mannequin-y, and it's creepy as fuck because nothing else has moved down here. The only thing is the monster, but the monster's back there. And then Clark gets to a pool room, which this is another like part of the Backrooms lore, I guess, or maybe a separate part, but it's called like the pool rooms, and it's basically like empty backroom places, but it's all tile with water, and it's supposed to kind of invoke the same feeling. It's just instead of it being like the yellow dim lit rug area, but basically he gets to a pool room, and like one of his employees is like, Clark, like I'm in the window, and he's like, window, I can't see anything. And then he placed I'm sorry, earlier when he gets into this pool room, he puts the camera down, and then his employee starts talking to him. So you see him walk to the wall where the employee is talking from, but the camera is just pointed. And then you see something pick up the camera, and it's like, you're like, oh shit. And the camera just gets higher and higher, and then it just cuts and it gets to the therapist. And basically the therapist ends up going down there looking for Clark because Clark mentioned all this shit. She finds the back rooms because Clark had it taped out. And this basically opens up the third act of the movie where the therapist is now the main character. And Clark is basically gone crazy. There's a lot of theories going on whether or not, okay, she goes down there and she runs into Clark, but he's acting kind of weird. So there's a lot of people that think Clark is running from his responsibility. Throughout the movie, they say that Clark constantly blames life and everything around him for his problems instead of blaming himself. So some people think instead of telling the employee's family, oh, I brought them in here and they died, he's hiding in the back room. Some people think that the back rooms cloned Clark, and the real Clark is the monster, the pirate version that I'll get to in a minute. And I really like these theories. I don't exactly know. Clark does act a little different in the back rooms, like when the therapist finds him back there. But to say that it's a clone version of him, I don't disagree. It's so fun. I love the speculation because it gives you, there's no right or wrong answer. So if you go, I think this, there can't be anybody be like, are you fucking stupid? No, of course it's not. No, it can be because it never gives you a direct answer. But anyway, the monster that's been chasing them is a pirate version of Clark, which Clark's furniture store is called Captain Clark's, and he's wearing like a pirate hat. So it's basically the Backrooms tried to recreate Clark, but made him this giant monster. There's also speculation on why he's eating people, because some people say, like Clark said, he's blaming everybody else for his problems instead of him, so the monster's eating anybody else but the Clark. It's super good. It's very eerie. I'm going to try to cut this short just because I don't want to run too long and try to explain everything, because I really don't even know what my own theories are. I've only seen other people's theories, and I don't really know what I believe, but it's such a rewatchable film. Like, and it's so fun. Like I said, that sequence of him first finding the back rooms, it's so eerie because you don't know what's in there. Well, okay, earlier in the movie, the very opening of the movie is a guy in a what are they, like a containment suit? What are they called? I can't remember. Like a CD, like a CETA, like CDA. I think that's Left 4 Dead. But like what hazmat suit. Thank you, me. The hazmat suit. And he gets chased by something, and right at the end, he's holding a camera, and like it grabs him, but you don't really get to see what it is, at least not for a long time. And it's Captain Clark, but it's most likely before Clark went in there. So like, how is it already have a version of Clark in it? It's super good. It's super good. But we know that there's a monster in there. But even that sequence, the monster's almost never present, but it's still so much fun and eerie to see him explore this place and him be confused on where he's at. I love this movie. We're gonna give this shit, I'm giving Backrooms a 10 out of fucking 10. I was so thrilled with this movie in my enjoyment. Is it a perfect film? I don't know. And I don't care. I had so much fun. I thought that this movie was so beautiful. It was directed so well. And there's the hand cam stuff, which is so creepy. It's so eerie. So good. Anyway, we're going to do Best Character Award. Probably Clark. There's not many characters in this movie. It literally, I'm not even lying to you, it's the therapist, Clark, the two employees, and that's about it. Oh, and the therapist mom, which kind of deals with more of the psychological stuff that the Backrooms is kind of representing, but she is only seen through flashbacks, and it's more of a show of the kind of life that the therapist lived, not necessarily making the mom a character. She is a character, don't get me wrong. Actually, I changed my mind. The character award is going to go to the Backrooms itself, because the Backrooms feels alive and living, and it's so good. Clark is great, and I actually like him as a main character. Listen, okay, this is where I'm gonna say this real quick before I end this video, okay? Because Backrooms and Obsession, like I said, they are separate films that are doing and tackling different things, but because they're made by young directors on a very cheap budget and they're doing incredibly well at the box office and people are loving it, they're getting compared. Clark is not a good guy, per se. He's not a terrible person, but people are comparing him to Bear from Obsession and saying that Clark is a disgusting human being. I get it. He argued with his wife and he said some fucked up things and he called her fat and he was very rude and disrespectful to his wife, who is not a character that we even see. We see a photo of where we see a photo of her. We don't even get to see her. But I understand that he is not necessarily a good person for the things that he's doing. But Clark is a person that is being weighed down by life actions. And it is explained in the movie that Clark blames everybody but himself, okay? That is a real character flaw, or not even a character flaw. That is a real person flaw that people actually have. So to say that Clark is as bad of a person as Bear from Obsession is fucking crazy. Nikki in Obsession, spoilers for Obsession if you're watching this and haven't seen Obsession, but Nikki is literally not herself. The agency of choice, her being able to say yes and choose her love for whoever she may love, is stripped from her. She asks to get killed, and Bear doesn't do it because he wants to basically live with her and have sex with her and do things with her when she doesn't want it. She wants that. He chooses not to do anything. That makes him a bad person because he knows what he's doing is wrong, and he chooses to continue to do those wrong things. Clark is just a man who is saying the wrong things and maybe doing the wrong things, but he never physically hit his wife. He never he said bad things, but how are these two people comparable? I saw a TikTok comment that said Clark is a disgusting human being. Disgusting? Bro, I'm gonna die on this hill because listen, again, he didn't treat his wife great, but also he is stressed out by working his absolute ass off. And I'm not, listen, just because you have to pay the bills and stuff, that doesn't necessarily give you the right to talk to your significant other however you want. But if you're in a relationship, it's not necessarily always 50-50. And this is not really exactly about the movie anymore, but this is about the people saying that Clark is a disgusting, terrible person. At a certain point, if you're stressed out with life, sometimes you say things that you don't mean. You hit a breaking point. And whether or not you believe what you say, if you fuck up and you say the wrong thing, that is wrong. But it's how you deal with it, okay? Clark is just a human being. I understand that when they're in the back rooms, he has this conversation and he sounds much more sinister. But that also leads into the is it really Clark? Is it a clone of Clark? Is it the worst version of Clark? Is he hiding? It doesn't matter. Bear and Clark are two uncomparable people. Bear actively knew that Nikki did not want to do this anymore, and he still chose to go through with it. Clark said some fucked up shit to his wife and said the wrong things, but he is human. I can't even... But anyway, let me know your thoughts on these movies. I know that this was Scary Movie, and I ended up talking about Obsession probably more than Scary Movie. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Backrooms or Scary Movie. Have a good day, and thank you for watching.